Alex has now completed work on the timesheet system and he's back at the school. They are now receiving a daily file from the bank which needs to be uploaded to their BPay system to record all the parent payments. Because it is a daily task and it is a bit of a chore, they would like to automate the process using a macro, and that's what we're going to look at doing now. The only thing with this macro is it has to be slightly different. Unlike the timesheet system where every sheet looked identical, with this macro, we're going to need to make sure that when we import, it's always to the next available blank row. And to do this, we're going to use a relative reference macro. With a relative reference macro, if I were in D9 and I clicked onto A9, it would record me clicking 3 cells to the left rather than clicking into A9 specifically. And this makes relative reference macros far more versatile. Now, just a quick note about the data import. We're going to come to the Data tab, and if you have any version other than the latest Office 365, you will see an option to get external data from text. That is the one you're going to need to use. If you have Office 365, you're going to need to go to your File, Options, Data, and activate the Legacy Wizard for text import. We're then going to click Get Data, Legacy Wizards from Text. Useful to know anyway. Now let's go through the macro. Bear in mind that if you are recording a more complex macro, it's a very good idea to have a practice run first, but we're just going to jump in with both feet. So we're going to come to our Developer tab, and first and foremost, we're going to click Use Relative References, and you'll see that is now selected. Now we're going to click our Record macro, and we're going to call this Import Data, and our shortcut key is going to be Control-Shift-I, and OK. Now the first thing we want to do is get to the first available blank row, but we can't just click there, so we're going to use our keyboard shortcuts. So start by pressing Control Home to get to the first cell, then Control down arrow to get to the last non-blank cell, and then down arrow to get your first blank row. So Control Home, Control down arrow, and down arrow. Now we're going to do our data import. So we're going to come back to our Data tab, come to Get Data, Legacy Wizards, or just Import from Text, and click From Text. This will launch your import wizard, and you're now going to need to locate the file, which you should have downloaded. I'm going to come to Documents, Excel Files, and there it is, BPay 2017-0814. And I'm going to double click to select. Now the data is delimited, which means separated by a character, so we're going to click Next, but it's not delimited by tabs, so untick that, choose Other, and if you have a quick look, you'll see it's using semicolons to delimit the data, which is unusual, but lots of organizations do it differently. And now we can just click Finish. Now one little thing you'll notice is it's saying it's going to import to A9. That could be a problem, but we'll come and sort that out in a moment, so just say OK. The data has been imported, but it's pulled in this header information which we don't want. So now again, using our shortcut keys, we're going to hold our Shift down and press our right arrow until we've got to just under the amount, and then our down arrow twice. So we've now selected all the cells we want to remove. We're going to come to the Home tab and click Delete. Our macro is now completed, so we're going to come back to our Developer tab and click Stop Recording. Now we saw that there was a small problem with the import in that it was saying import to A9, and we have another issue. We don't always want to import the same file name, so we're going to make a couple of tweaks to our macro. Click on your Macros button and click Edit. And here is our macro. Now the first thing we're going to have a look at is how we can change that file name so that the user is prompted to enter it rather than it always using the same file. We're going to click just after BPay but before the date, and we're going to close off the double quotes. We're then going to type an ampersand, and we're going to delete that date and replace it with an input box. So we're going to put input box and open bracket. Now our prompt is going to be, please enter date, and we can even give them a format, so YYYYMMDD, and close your double quotes. Then another comma, and our title is going to simply be import data. Close your double quotes and close your brackets. Now we're going to need another ampersand and open our double quotes. So that's going to join this bit of text with whatever the user types in with the end of the file name. So that's that problem fixed. But we also need to fix this little problem, range A9. That's very specific. So we're going to delete that from the range A9 to the first bracket, and we're going to replace it with active cell. And that simply tells the macro whichever cell we happen to be clicked on. And we've just spent a little bit of time making sure that we're clicked on the correct cell. So that will solve that problem. Great, now let's test the macro. So Alt F11 or click back into your workbook, and let's test this. So click away any random cell you like, and we're going to press our shortcut key. So we're going to say Control-Shift-I, and this time we'll use the next file. So this is going to be 2017-08-15, and click OK. Oh dear, what has happened here? Well, when there's a problem in your macro, the VB editor will offer you the option to debug, which means correct the problem. So we're going to click the debug button, and it will immediately go to the line that's causing the error. This may be because of something you've typed in by mistake, or in this particular case, it's actually a bug in Excel itself. There is no command type 0. So very easily fixed. We're going to click just before the dot command, and we're going to put in our comment. So a little apostrophe and click away. And it has immediately jumped to the next line of code as comments are not executed. Now to continue running this macro, we're going to come up to our toolbar and hit the continue button, which looks like a little green play button. And that seems to have worked fine. Let's go back into our workbook to check. So Alt F11, and you can see our macro is now started at the next available blank line and run perfectly. So that is how you can record a relative reference macro, which allows you to do far more complex and versatile operations. Start thinking about how you might be able to apply macros to automate procedures in your own workplace. And don't forget to do this week's practice challenge.